Have you been denied or cut off from long-term disability? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from DisabilityLaw.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Mondays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Hello there and welcome back. We are here, Ask a Lawyer, Disability Law, CP24. John Scholes, and welcome to the show. Sivan Tamarkin on your screen shortly. Reach out anytime to Sivan. As you know, it's a simple process just to make the phone call, right? Consultations are absolutely free, so feel free to ring them anytime, 1-855-821-5900, ask at DisabilityRights.ca. We are chock full of content on the half hour of this show, as we always are every week. Main topic in just a bit will be top 5 myths about long-term disability claims. Stick around for that. We'll get to some phone calls from our radio show, other questions as well. So we got a lot to get through, Sivan, but we always start off with you just kind of giving us a bit of a framework, what the show is about, what you do for a living, and a case you want to talk about as well. What do you got going on this week?
Thanks, John. Well, I'm a disability lawyer, and I deal with people who have issues with their long-term disability claims or people who've been injured in a car accident, a slip and fall, anything where you've been injured through no fault of your own, or maybe somebody else is at fault partially, and we make sure that we get the compensation that you deserve. And of course, when we're dealing with short and long-term disability, we make sure that if the insurance company denies your claim, we assess your case for free and we tell you what your options are and whether or not you have any legal recourse. Well, let me tell you about an interesting call I had this week, John. It was a gentleman, 52 years old, just outside of the GTA, north of the GTA. Last December, around this time, I would say, he slipped and fell as he was doing some Christmas shopping. Slipped and fell outside of a big department store in a plaza. There was some black ice. Long story short, he fractured his right hip, and he had to be hospitalized. He had surgery. Now, this gentleman worked as a PSW, personal support worker. And for anybody who doesn't know, that is a very, very important job, very difficult job, very physical job. Well, since then, he has not been back to work, and he's applied for short-term disability, and he received that through his benefits plan at work. And then he applied for long-term disability. And of course, as sometimes happens with these insurance companies, often happens, unfortunately, they denied his claim. And they denied his claim for really ridiculous reasons. 2 reasons. Number 1, they said that he didn't submit enough medical documentation to prove his disability. And number 2, which again is kind of contradictory here, but they said, well, they don't believe that he is disabled or totally disabled under the policy. Interesting how they came with to that conclusion if they haven't had actually sufficient documentation to make that assessment. Be that as it may, he came to me because he said, look, I was approved for short-term disability. How could I be not approved, denied for long-term disability? And of course, I looked at the policy. I looked at the legal information that he gave me. I looked at the medical documentation that he gave me. And my conclusion is the insurance company has everything they need, had everything they need in order to make a determination in his favor. And that's the reason why he was approved for short-term disability with the same insurance company, but a different adjuster. So long story short, I explained to him, look, the insurance company is incorrect here. First of all, you've submitted sufficient medical documentation. I probably would have asked for a few more things from some of his doctors, but the reality is this is an objective injury. It's a serious injury. We're going to be able to force the insurance company to pay you what you're owed, and it's not going to take a long time. But then we talked about something that he didn't raise, which is important, which is the fact that the slip and fall. What happened? What led him to be injured this way? And I explained to him that he has legal recourse for more significant compensation, different compensation than what the insurance company owes him, from the plaza owner or from that winter maintenance contractor. They did not do their job. They didn't salt, they didn't sand the area. And this happens quite a lot, unfortunately, in many places in Ontario and across the country during the winter time. And so I explained to him that he's entitled to not only those benefits from the insurance company, but he's entitled to pain and suffering damages. He's entitled to out-of-pocket expenses being reimbursed if he needs any medical rehabilitation type treatments, which of course he does, given the type of injury he suffered, the fractured hip, and he's going to have mobility issues in the future. I told him that his claim, the slip and fall claim, is probably, my valuation of it is around $400,000 or $500,000.
Wow.
That's what I believe, based on everything he gave me, that it's worth. That's not including, again, the benefits that I believe the insurance company, the long-term disability insurance company, owes him. So once I explained everything to him, it was about a 2-hour consultation. He was very thankful. We're going to help him. We're going to be able to advocate on his behalf on both fronts. And my job is done as long as I give people the information they need, as long as you understand what your legal rights are, as long as you understand what compensation you deserve, or maybe I'll tell you that the insurance company is correct and, it is what it is. You can't go after them or you shouldn't go after them, but I'll give you the goods. I'll tell you exactly the way it is and how it is, and it's going to cost you nothing to get this information. And that's why I tell people, John, anybody, you have a question, whether it's an injury claim, whether it's a disability claim, maybe not just you, maybe a family member, a colleague, a coworker, anybody who needs this information, please put them in touch with us. Myself, a member of my team, will make sure we speak with them, we'll take the time, we'll understand what their case is about, and we will give them the information they need to understand what they can and cannot do legally here in Ontario.
Always feel free to call or reach out to Sivan with email as well. Also, the website DisabilityRights.ca. You will find a radio station across this fine country, in Ontario specifically as well, where you can catch our weekly radio shows. Sivan and some of his partners cover that entire hour of radio. Got a lot of great phone calls from those shows. I want to play the first one now. Sivan, have a listen and we'll talk about it a bit.
I was cut off long-term disability because my adjuster saw photos of me on Facebook sitting and smiling at my sister's wedding 3 months ago. I'm just devastated. My psychiatrist even wrote to them and told them that I still can't work, but they won't budge. And I don't know what to do.
The old social media ploy, huh?
The old social media ploy. And people need to understand that insurance companies, this is the first thing they're going to go to when they try to investigate your claim. And that's just what they do. They'll go and they'll Google you and they'll go on Instagram and Facebook and whatever else they can get their hands on to see if they can latch on to something, if they can cherry pick any photographs or videos or comments you make, something that will give them a storyline, something where they can say, aha, we caught you. You're not as disabled as you say you are, or we're going to cut you off or deny your claim. And so this lady is not saying something that I haven't seen 1,000 times before, which is the insurance company will use these things against you. Now, the fact that the insurance company tells you that they're going to cut off your benefits or deny your claim because of a social media posting, because of something you said or something they saw, do not take that as being the end of the road. It's just not. Ultimately, when I assess a claim, I ask the person, are you disabled or not? If you're disabled, tell me why you're disabled. Explain to me the nature of your disability. Let me see the medical documentation, any reports or letters from your doctors, whoever's treating you, your psychiatrist, your psychologist, your family doctor, whoever it is that you're dealing with. I want to see what they say, because if they say that you are disabled from working, you cannot work at the present time, you have to undergo treatments, and if you tell me you can't go back, and if you explain to me what it is that the insurance company has got, in other words, explain to me what it is that they saw on the social media posting. I mean, this is ridiculous, seeing her smile at the wedding. I mean, that's nothing. But I've seen situations where somebody, saw someone going to the gym, for example, and doing some exercises, and they say, well, this proves that you're not disabled. Well, no, that person was suffering from a psychological issue. And their doctors explicitly told them that as part of their treatment, they should be going to the gym 3 times a week. So my point is, insurance companies, again, will use whatever they can, whatever excuses they can to deny your claim, but we can challenge them, and I've done that many times. Surveillance doesn't scare me. In fact, oftentimes, it actually proves the opposite, that the person is in fact disabled or that they're following their doctor's advice.
Got a lot more to go here, Sivan. We'll get into that. The top 5 myths about long-term disability claims is on the other side of the break. Stick around as we continue Ask a Lawyer Disability Law here on CP24.
Do you have questions about your employment law rights? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from EmploymentLawyer.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Welcome back to Ask a Lawyer Disability Law. This is CP24. John Scholes here. Sivan Tamarkin as well from DisabilityRights.ca. Of course, a disability lawyer. You want to reach out to Sivan anytime. Call Sivan or his crew. Always ready to answer your phone calls. Consultations will cost you not a penny. 1-855-821-5900. Ask at DisabilityRights.ca as well. It's time to get into our main topic, Sivan. Here we go. The top 5 myths about long-term disability claims, so you can play along. Number 1, my friend. If I am denied or cut off from LTD, there is nothing I can do. I am powerless. It's over.
Boy, John, insurance companies would love you to believe that. And in fact, many people do believe that. They believe that they have no option, they have no recourse. They think, oh my God, the insurance company said this is it, this is the end of the road, so therefore it is. Nothing can be further than the truth. It's just not true. Insurance companies can be challenged. They get challenged each and every day, but they play a numbers game. They know that a certain amount of people that they deny claims for will simply walk away or be paralyzed by the decision, not know what to do, be scared. If you stand up for your rights, or if you come to us and you tell us, here's the situation, and we advise you that you have a case, I am telling you, as soon as you stand up for your rights, or let us help you stand up for your rights, the insurance company will come to the table and try to negotiate. Because there's one thing, and then one thing only, John, that they like that they don't like better than paying out claims, which is paying their lawyers. They hate paying their lawyers to defend these kinds of claims. And I'm telling you this as somebody who used to work for them in the past. So no, you can challenge these denials and we can show you how.
Myth number 2, I don't need a disability lawyer, Sivan, to help me with my LTD dispute.
Listen, this is like me saying I don't need any tax advice. And maybe some people have expertise in the area and they don't need tax advice or don't need a disability lawyer. If you have an illness, well, there's certain things you got to take Advil for, you got to take some medications, but you also know when you need to go to the doctor, when you need to go to a specialist. It's the same thing when it comes to disability law. If you're having issue with your insurance company, if you have any questions about your claim, get the proper help. Contact us. Again, especially since it doesn't cost anything to get this information from us. Really important to understand, if you try and do this on your own, the insurance company is going to run circles around you because this is what they do for a living.
Myth number 3 about long-term disability claims is this, Sivan. We touched on this earlier. The insurer says I have insufficient medical support for my LTD claim, so I guess I'm out of luck.
So this happens quite a lot. Again, insurance companies will try to gaslight you. Insurance companies will not tell you the truth. They will cherry-pick information. I know some insurance adjusters out there are going to be very angry with me saying this, and I'm not saying everyone does this. Okay, not every insurance adjuster is a bad person. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that insurance companies will often tell you that you haven't given us everything we needed in order to make the determination. And when I look at some of these claims and I look at some of the documentation provided, I say to myself, this is exactly what the insurance company needs. And why is it that when we get involved, suddenly they say it's sufficient? And then they make their decision, usually to approve. So again, don't assume that what the insurance company is telling you is absolutely correct. This is when you need to check with us, especially if it's going south. If you're not sure, if you have a question, you check with us. It will cost you nothing, and you'll have the information you need.
A couple more of these. Event number 4, myth number 4, I have to try to go back to work or else the insurer will cut off my LTD.
So absolutely not. This is something that we get all the time. The insurance company, the adjuster tells you, we think that you are ready to go back to work or to try a gradual return to work program. We've had one of our medical consultants look at it, or we'll have one of our experts, and they think that you should be able to go back. Meanwhile, you know you're not ready. You know your doctors are telling you you're not ready. They're not approving you. All you got to do is get your doctors to write to the insurance company that this is not the right time, you still need more time. If the insurance company at that point threatens to cut you off or tells you they're going to cut you off by a certain date, guess what? You now have legal recourse against the insurance company. You can put their feet to the fire or let us do that for you. The insurance company cannot force you back to work. They can't. They can pressure you, but there is ways to pressure them back.
5th and final myth about long-term disability claims, Sivan, is this. I can't hire a disability lawyer to help with my LTD because I don't have enough money. What do I do?
So this is important to understand, and I'm not speaking for other lawyers. I can tell you the way my firm operates. If we are taking on your case, if we're telling you that we're going to represent you with respect to your disability claim, you're not paying anything up front. In fact, the only time we get paid is if we're able to actually get the insurance company to pay you. We get a commission, the way that real estate agents work. So if we're wrong, we did all this work for nothing. And we don't want to work for nothing, obviously. So again, we will tell you what your rights are. We will explain to you what the process is. We will tell you everything you need to know to make a decision. And then you make that decision. There's no pressure. But we'll make sure that you understand all your options. Certainly, it's not going to cost you anything to get this information. And frankly, it's not going to cost you anything to actually hire us to do it unless we're able to recover money for you. And that's it. It's very, very simple. And really, there's no reason, John, not to actually call us just to understand what your rights are.
All right, more of your questions on the other side of the break. We'll do that as we continue Ask a Lawyer Disability Law on CP24. Stay with us.
Do you have questions about your employment law rights? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from EmploymentLawyer.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Okay, welcome back. Ask a Lawyer, Disability Law. We're ready to continue on with some more questions. I'll give you the contact information first for Sivan and his team anytime. Consultation's free right there, 1-855-821-5900. You'll want to back it up with an email, ask@disabilityrights.ca. Scan that QR code as well if you got a moment on your phone and take it from there. A lot of questions we get both on the phones, through emails, many different platforms, but always offering good advice. And it's good to ruminate on these a bit, Sivan, because there's insight to be found in many of these questions. Get to the first one right now, so listen up, pal.
What kind of medical evidence do I need to support my long-term disability claim?
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's very, very common question. And again, insurance companies will give you forms that you need to fill out, that your doctor needs to fill out. And what I tell people is, look, your doctors need to be as explicit as possible about what symptoms you're experiencing, why those symptoms are preventing you from working, what the treatment plans are, what the recommendations are, what the prognosis is. Really, really important. Now, the one thing that I tell people is, be as truthful as you can. This is key. Now, John, we have a website called LTDFAQ.ca, Long-Term Disability Frequently Asked Questions, and we have these very short memos that we've prepared for the public, free of charge. And there is actually a memo there that talks about what information should be on your claim, or what information the doctors need to provide to maximize your chance of getting long-term disability approved. And, again, we also have people, John, that call us and say, look, I'm in the middle of actually filling out this application. Can I pay you to help us with this application? And the answer is, you can come to us and we will help you, and we're not going to charge you. Okay? You're not going to have to pay anything. We're going to give you the information you need. We're going to tell you how to maximize the chances of getting approved. Doesn't mean you're going to get approved, because, again, insurance companies are in the business, in my experience, of denying claims. But we will certainly put your best foot forward. So you want to make sure your doctors are providing as much information as possible.
That is question number one. Question number two, same way, is coming up right now. Listen up.
I'm a tradesperson on long-term disability. Can I refuse an office job suggested by my insurance company?
It's an interesting question, John, because when the insurance company tries to figure out if you can do something else, usually we're dealing with someone who's been on long-term disability for about a year and a half. You're approaching that 2-year mark. That's when the definition of total disability, or the criteria for getting long-term disability beyond 2 years, changes. No longer is the test, can you perform the essential tasks of your own employment, your own job, but can you perform the essential tasks of any occupation, any employment for which you're suited for? That's key, for which you're suited for by training, education, or experience. Now, this gentleman is asking if he's a tradesperson, and the insurance company is saying, well, we found a job for you that's an office job. Well, the question is, do you have experience? Do you have education? Do you have training in that? If the answer is no, well, then guess what? That job doesn't fit you. They can't force you to take that job. If you do have some training or experience or education, there is potentially an argument if you and your doctor believe that you can in fact do that job competently, right? But again, sometimes there's gray areas, and this is what the insurance company is banking on, which is why we tell people, call us so we can talk to you specifically about your case, so we can understand your context, you understand your situation, and we'll tell you if the insurance company is correct or not. But listen, insurance companies, again, are in the business of trying to get you off claim and not pay you. So they'll make the argument that you should be accepting the other job, the desk job. And somebody may say that desk job is less onerous, it's less difficult than what a tradesperson is doing. Maybe that's so, but that doesn't mean that under the policy of insurance you have an obligation to take it. It really does depend on the situation and what the policy wording says.
All right, we'll take another short break, our last one for the show, and we'll come back with one of your emails. So stay tuned for that. It could be yours here on Ask a Lawyer Disability Law on CP24.
Do you have questions about your employment law rights? Ask a Lawyer is here for you. Each week, experts from EmploymentLawyer.ca answer your questions. Visit cp24.com/askalawyer and watch Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on CP24.
Hey, welcome back. Ask a Lawyer, Disability Law here on CP24. I will give you the contact information quickly to get a hold of Sivan after the show. Toll free right there. Of course, consultations are free. That phone number, 1-855-821-5900, and email ask@disabilityrights.ca. That is what we're using right now. Sivan, here's the email to wrap up the show. Says, I've been on LTD for almost 2 years. My insurer asked me to apply for CPP disability, but I was denied. I appealed and was denied again. How could this impact my long-term disability benefits? Should I be worried? What do you think?
Great question.
Yep.
And remember that your CPP disability claim is different and separate than your LTD claim. The insurance company can't cut off your long-term disability claim because the government decided that you don't qualify for CPP disability. Those are two separate things. Arguably, CPP disability is actually more difficult to get. But if the insurance company in this case does anything to compromise this person's benefits, John, they should call me immediately because we'll be able to help them. They should not reduce your LTD benefit. They should not cut them off. They should not threaten to do anything. The fact that the government made its decision should not impact the LTD entitlement. But sometimes insurance companies do, in fact, use that as a precursor to say, well, I guess the government doesn't think you're disabled, so we don't think so either. No, it doesn't work like that. The government criteria is different. The government criteria is different than the LTD criteria. So if this happens, we can definitely help this person make sure that the insurance company doesn't get away with it and pays this individual everything that they're entitled to.
All right, good stuff. Thank you so much for that email. If you sent that along, keep them coming, keep them coming. We'll wrap up some contact information here as we close off for another week. Phone call first, 1-855-821-5900 to send that email along, ask@disabilityrights.ca. Now, Sivan did mention LTDFAQ.ca. That's free and anonymous for you to use. Any other details, cp24.com/askalawyer, and take it from there. We'll catch you next time right here on Ask a Lawyer, Disability Law.